as well as a couple of questions from the audience today in the app. And the first one was, you mentioned about blood sugar and the importance of that, and reference like becoming hangry. How did you, you work with a lot of celebrities on this actually. How do you teach them to manage their blood sugar? Because it's such a simplistic idea and notion, but I bet 90% of the people watching this right now have experienced hanger in the last month. So it's like, how do you get off the hangry train?
Well, you make brain healthy food a priority. And, you know, I talked about the weapons of mass destruction. We are in a society where a whole bunch of people are making money on your early death. And I was driving down the freeway here in Southern California. On the right side, and it was in Long Beach, was a huge billboard for a fast food sandwich called the Tower of Torta from AM/PM gas stations. Just huge. And I'm like, well, that'll kill people early. And as I turned my head to the left side of the freeway, I saw a billboard for losing weight with lap band. And I'm like, this is the insanity of our society. Let us get these beautiful women like Catherine Webb and have them have a Carl's Jr. sandwich, which, you know, in real life, they'll never eat. But they'll go, if you eat this, unconsciously, you're going, well, she'll want me if I eat this. She won't want you if you eat that. But we're in this crazy period of time where food that is unhealthy, that is disease promoting, think of a Happy Meal, it should be labeled an unhappy meal, are just being marketed to us relentlessly. And if you want to keep your blood sugar healthy, think of eating 3 or 4 times a day, but put protein and healthy fat in each meal. I do intermittent fasting, so I usually go 12, 16 hours a day. But I always start with a protein shake that has healthy fat in it, and it's just loaded with nutritious things, and it tastes great, so I'm happy, right? The big principle I've been working on is you only want to love food that loves you back, that you're in a relationship with food. So if you're looking at brownies or ice cream or pizza or pasta, and you're like, oh, that makes me so hungry, your brain's attached to the wrong images. And learning how to change that is so important.
It's good. Just the simplest act of eating multiple times a day, increasing protein and fats, game changer for me, especially adding fats in. Probably right after I saw you, I started changing my diet a little bit more to add more fats. I guess this was like, what was that, 2011? So that's so long ago, it's 10 years ago. And was a game changer for me. Just my all day energy was really, really critical. Is there any research, or do you know what the effect of loneliness or isolation actually has on the brain from physical,
unfortunately,
functionality?
It's one of the major risk factors for Alzheimer's disease.
Wow.
Because when you're with someone, your brain has to work, right? You're reading social cues, you're thinking about whatever you're talking about. The brain's busy when we're connected. When we're isolated, we get sad. We know depression is a risk factor for Alzheimer's disease, but isolation all by itself is bad. So if you're feeling isolated, find a way to volunteer. Do something, get connected at church, at a community group that fits your level of interest. I remember there's a study from the Baltimore longevity study where they took 2 groups of people. One, they had volunteer. The other group, they just kept doing what they were doing. The people who volunteered grew their hippocampus. So the hippocampus is the major memory and mood structure in the brain. And it's one of the few areas of the brain that every day produces about 700 new baby stem cells. And when you're using it in a positive, purposeful way, it will actually grow that area of your brain.
Beautiful. I love that.
My question for you is, I'm actually, I would say, a recovering people pleaser. I'm doing better in my personal life, but my problem is my career actually requires me to be a people pleaser. So I'm in sales, and therefore my customer service is important, that I make people happy. And obviously for sales, people have to like me. So how can I wrap my mindset around that without it being as stressful as being a people pleaser in my personal life?
That's really a great question. And I think compartmentalizing it, but still in sales, you want to be authentic and you want to be likable, right? Because sales is a relationship. In your personal life, you probably also want to be likable. You just don't want to say yes all the time. And your brain is always listening. They're bad habit dragons. And one of the bad habit dragons is the yes, yes, yes dragon, where you're always saying yes, when in fact you should say, I have to think about it. So you really like the book. And it's what I do. I teach my patients in the mirror, when someone asks you to do something, rather than automatically saying yes or automatically saying no, go, I have to think about that. Let me think about that. And then you go back to your goals. We have an exercise called the one-page miracle. On one piece of paper, write down, what do you want? Relationships, work, money, physical, emotional, spiritual health. What do you want? And then go, well, does it fit? And at work, making your customers happy, as long as it's rational, right? I mean, you don't want to do irrational things for them either. It's like, oh, well, that fits for me to go the extra mile. Well, when one of your friends who's asked you to do it 45 times asks you to go the extra mile, but they don't reciprocate, then you go, you don't have to think about that. And then you decline. If it doesn't fit the goals you have for your life. So those 3 words, that's a little meditation for me. Well, does it fit? Because people ask me to do stuff all the time. And if it doesn't fit, I say no. Tony Blair actually said, the #1 hallmark of a leader, the former Prime Minister of the UK, is his ability or her ability to say no. Right? Because there's only so much time. You want to make sure you're doing things that serve your health, your relationships, the reason you're on the planet. And so wanting other people to like you is such a trap. It's such a trap. It's an evolutionary trap, right? Because if we get people to like us, you get to be part of the group. And the group protects us from dying. But at the same time, we just have to ask, does it fit?
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember, you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.